In 1812, Russian soldiers established a small fort north of Bodega Bay to relay supplies to their larger fort up north. For 30 years, they eked out a living here amongst the local Indians and Aleut hunters. Today, you can visit Fort Ross and relive this period of California history. The 4th-5th grade class at Kings Mountain School did just that last December. With Lee Davis as our commandant, we journeyed up the coast and back into time.
Tradition! 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 Tradition!
It took 3 hours for us to get to Fort Ross. It was a very long car ride, but it was worth it because the overnight was a fun one.
Kirsten threw up. All of a sudden, she just threw up.
Oh!
All over her jacket and on her car, and then she
And
had
the seatbelt.
Then she had to empty out.
Are you okay, Kirsten?
Fine. And we're gonna go to Fort Ross. We're here, and we're gonna be Aleuts, Kashiapomo, and Russians.
The Kashiapomo were farmers, and the Aleuts were fishermen. The Russians controlled the fort. After we got there, we explored the fort.
Fort Ross is real big, and there were big walls all around the fort. The buildings we slept in were all wood, and we had to sleep on the floor. It was hard, but I fell asleep easily.
I thought Fort Ross was a neat experience. I hope we get to do it again someday.
I wish it had lasted a week instead of a day. Being an Indian was very different for me.
As soon as we finish eating lunch, we are going to go down and unload all the stuff and bring it up, like the firewood and all that stuff that we need. And after we finish unloading all the stuff, we're going to change into our costumes. And after we change into our costumes, we're going to meet right out here, because we're going to have a little opening kind of a ceremony and a flag-raising deal and a bunch of baloney like that, right?
So take me away. I don't mind. But you better promise me I'll be back in time. Gotta get back in time. Gotta get back in time. Get me back in time.
Okay. This is the magazine here where they keep all the guns, gunpowder, and weapons.
What are we going to do with these?
We are going to use them later on to defend the fort. There's powder horns, kegs of powder, and there are the rifles and swords we will be using later.
This is the Fort Ross Chapel.
Behalf of Tsar Nicholas I of Russia and the Fort Ross Trading Company, part of the Russian-American Company, I would like to welcome you new recruits to Fort Ross. If you work hard, you may return home rich beyond your wildest dreams. You may also find yourself penniless and in the brig. We accept no insubordination here at Fort Ross, as you will find. We accept cultural differences among our Aleut and Kashiapomo co-workers. However, we do not breach insubordination.
We've had a report from our spies that there are Spaniards poised to attack the fort who are disguised as sheep. If you see any sheep, be on alert. It could be a disguised Spaniard ready to take over this fort. It's the first responsibility we have. We're going to raise the flag. Let's make sure we got this straight.
With parents as lieutenants, the class divided into groups. You were either a Russian or the local Kashiapoma Indians.
We can go there or we can go there, and I believe we could also go over there. So let's have a vote. Let's have a vote, and I'm going to start with this one.
Where else can we go? Wait, what? Listen.
Do you know where the fishing poles are?
Yep.
Or an Aleut hunter, an Indian tribe brought here by the Russians to hunt the sea otter.
Throwing the spears, and we're trying to make them go farther than the farthest person.
What did the Aleuts do by throwing spears?
Well, they just practice for fishing when they spearfish.
Oh, we're going to spear fish?
We're gonna try to.
Okay.
The real trick to going fishing is to keep your feet dry. The real trick, fishermen need to keep their feet dry if they want the fish to bite on the line. You got it? So whatever you do, don't fall in the water. That's the prime rule when you're fishing, because if you fall in the water, you make a lot of noise, you scare away the fish, you don't catch any fish. Ready, forward, march. Up, 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 up.
My two favorite things were watching the cannon being fired and going fishing. The record was 3 fish. We caught 6 fish. That was my favorite part.
Meanwhile, the Kashiapoma were farmers and had the responsibility of tending the gardens and making the crafts.
The garden was so wrecked, and the Kashiapoma had to plant plants. We fixed up the scarecrows in the garden.
While the Aleuts were fishing and the Kashiapoma were busy in the garden, the Russians maintained the fort and prepared the evening meal.
You have to chop up some bunch of onions and heat the ground beef over this fire here. And then we make a kind of sauce and we boil the noodles. So
I'm building a fire in this pot, but I don't know why. Doesn't that sound sort of military-ish to you?
Besides the cooking, the Russians protected the fort and learned how to operate firearms.
That's called the sight. Sight, that's a big point.
The children learned what life was like in 1812. Candles had to be made to provide light.
I took a wick, which is a piece of string, and I wrapped beeswax around it.
I want to eat it.
You should do is you start off with it real small, like keep folding it over. But the first one should be small. Yeah.
You're sitting right by it.
The Russians made wooden spoons to use for implements to eat with. And so we are participating in that, and these folks have cut out a pattern out of paper, and then with coping saws and jigsaws, they've got their basic shape. Let me see this.
And the Indians practiced the crafts of weaving and braiding. After a very full day, all the settlers bedded down for the night, only to begin again the next day after breakfast with an extended hike.
Gotta get back in time. Gotta get back in time. Get back. Get back, money.
Fort Ross is a unique educational experience. We all felt lucky to have been a part of it. Excited but weary, we ended our adventure and packed up the cars for the trip back home.
Gotta get back in time. Gotta get back in time. Get back.
I think it was a good trip. I think the kids were really well prepared, and they did a good job.
All right.
Did you have a good time?